Hey, I'm here to do my review for Joe, which I actually saw a few weeks ago. Just didn't get around to, reviewing it until now. But it's the new Nicolas Cage drama that's getting, a lot of critical acclaim, and his performance in particular. I am a fan of the Cage Man. I love his over-the-top performances, like in Vampire's Kiss, but I also love his dramatic performances. Admittedly, for the past, about the past 10 years now, although he's been in some really good ones, he's also been in a lot of stinkers. Again, especially after he kind of broke into mainstream popularity. But I still stand by him, though. I mean, as an actor, I think he is capable of a lot of different roles, whether it's playing this really over the top psychological and darkly comedic role in Vampire's Kiss, or playing a very serious and down to earth role like in The Frozen Ground, which I saw last year, and I really liked that movie a lot. And so when I heard about Joe, I actually heard about Joe shortly after I watched The Frozen Ground, because Joe was already made last year, but it didn't get a wider release until recently. It was an independent film. And when I heard about Joe, and when I heard about, kind of like this movie got better reviews than Joe, but kind of like The Frozen Ground, Cage's performance got, good feedback. And this movie in particular got a lot of good feedback. And you got Ty Sheridan, who's, just fresh off of his performance in Mud, which is another really good indie film. So when I heard about Joe, I was kind of getting excited, and so now it's out. I saw it, and Joe's really good. It really is. I'm not just saying that as a Cage fan. It's a really good drama. There's really not much to talk about without giving it away. It's a film that, is a lot. It's all about its atmosphere and its characters, and more so, I would say, than the actual storyline that's happening. So because that, there's really not that much point in going too much into the story. But I mean, putting it simply, Ty Sheridan is this young teenage boy who lives in a very dumpy town, and he has the worst father of all time, just this alcoholic piece of trash, who is, I can't remember the actor's name, but the actor that plays the abusive father was actually a real-life homeless man. And I guess shortly before the premiere of Joe, he died. And it's kind of weird knowing that when you see the movie, because his performance as this abusive piece of scum father who treats his son, Ty Sheridan's character, so horribly, you just want to get your hands on this guy. And when you learn that the guy that played him was an actual homeless guy, it's weird. Because on one hand, he's doing a phenomenal job playing this character who we are not supposed to like. But on the other hand, not to be assumptuous of who the guy was, you can't help but wonder how much of that is the guy actually acting and how much of it is him just as a homeless guy. I don't know. But, I mean, and not to sound insensitive by any means to him, he does a really good job, but that's kind of an interesting, really interesting and very bizarre piece of trivia for that movie. So in the plot, so, Ty Sheridan is this young guy. He has a horrible, abusive father, and he desperately needs a job. And so he takes a job under the supervision of Joe, Nicolas Cage. And Joe is this ex-convict, tough guy, hard worker. Ever since he's been out of prison, he wants to live a peaceful life. But at the same time, don't mess with Joe. Like Joe, he doesn't want trouble, but if you start trouble with him, he's not holding back, you know? And so Ty Sheridan, I can't remember his character's name in the movie, but the kid and Joe really start to connect, and they become good friends. It starts out as, you know, they're coworkers, but then they become friends, and Joe also not only becomes a good friend to this young boy, but he also becomes, you know, kind of a father figure. And so they kind of bond, but while this is happening, you have two main antagonists in the story. You have the abusive piece of crap father, who Joe knows that this guy is beating his son and that he's taking his money that he rightfully earned, and, you know, so on and so forth. And then you also have this this troublemaker who they explain early in the film had a bad encounter with Joe at a bar the other night. Like, we don't see that encounter happen, if I recall correctly, but this guy basically has it out for Joe. And then Ty Sheridan's family, the father and him, they kind of get involved with this guy as well. And so, in other words, putting it simply, tension rises. And Joe, who wants to, you know, live a peaceful life, is kind of backed into a corner, and he kind of has to make a decision, a tough decision. Just by the trailer, I mean, honestly, I didn't really give that much away. Just by the trailer, you can tell that's kind of what the movie's going to be, and you kind of know already where this movie is going to some extent. But it works really well for these specific reasons. Even though the plot itself may not be incredibly complex by any means, the characters really work, and the dialogue really works. These are interesting characters, and they're written well, and the conversations that they have, even the kind of boring conversations, so to speak, are still entertaining to listen to and watch. And what really helps with that too is that the acting is so good in this movie, especially Nicolas Cage as Joe, Ty Sheridan, and then the homeless actor who plays the father. He's really good too, you know. And these three guys, as well as the rest of the cast as well, they just do such a good job bringing these characters to life, and you're invested. And like I said, it's one of those movies that's very much about the tension, you know, kind of like Mud, or kind of like something like Copland almost, where, like, you know, you're kind of just, you're watching this movie and you see that there's obviously a conflict, and you're just like waiting, like, you know, you're just waiting for the protagonist to just step in. Like, you're waiting for the protagonist to confront these antagonists in a violent climax. You just know it's going to happen. You're just waiting for it to happen. And the payoff is really good, and it's powerful. And again, their performances as these characters make the emotion strong. And another thing that really helps about this movie is the cinematography / directing is done really well. The directing is done really smoothly, and it looks beautiful. The shots are really well filmed. The transitions, it's a really good looking flick, and it's very well made. So I give it a B+, really good film, and it's a really solid dramatic comeback for Nicolas Cage. And I mean, I know he's despite doing these really good movies like Joe and The Frozen Ground, I know that he's still doing these cheap direct-to-DVD movies like Rage and Seeking Justice and Stolen. But I hope that with the success that Joe has gained, I'm hoping, which is rightfully deserved, I hope that will be a good opportunity for Cage to continue going into that department where he can continues to rise back up as the good actor that I know he is, and that many people know he is, and kind of lean away towards the quick, cheap, direct-to-DVD cash-ins. I know that, you know, the guy's got to get money, you know, to put food on the table, but I mean, from an acting, standpoint, from a cinematic standpoint, Joe is a good step for him. And for Ty Sheridan. Ty Sheridan he's so young, and he's proven already that more than once now that he is just such a good actor, and there's a lot of, there's a good bright future for that guy. Good for him too. So yeah, Joe, great movie. So that's my review of Joe. I'm gonna have my review of 24 Live Another Day, the miniseries, and my thoughts on that up soon. Guardians of the Galaxy is coming up. Get On Up is coming up. And I'm also going to review, when the finale airs on Sunday, I'll review the first season of *Halt and Catch Fire*. So, and then I'll also talk a little, I might put up a video soon, talk about what some updates on what I'm doing with my film projects. So, thanks for watching. See ya.